or not be perfected by seeing everything through the prism of race or sexuality. I am white and I don't feel ashamed.
I bet she'll try and tie this back to the fall of Rome. Like, that's what the fascists always love to do. They actually say that Rome fell because of the degenerate population succumbing to hedonism.
They are the ones who need to wake up, sleeping on the job and fiddling while Rome burns.
So Alex Phillips is the person that you're going to hear talking. Their annual conference in Derby, that's your way, isn't it?
Just down the road. Yeah, I'm in Nottingham, so it's just around the corner.
Oh, okay. And you didn't attend, which is surprising to me.
No, I should have gone and filmed my reaction, like a live react Andy.
Hilarious. Anyway, she's a GB News presenter and, interestingly, worked for Cambridge Analytica.
Although she argued that she didn't. I think she argued she took people to court for saying that she was involved with Cambridge Analytica when she was denying it, and then it came out that she was all along and she was just fucking lying.
Yeah. So she's a massive lying piece of shit, and it turns out the weirdest hog gammon motherfucker going.
I think she's going to be a parliamentary candidate for Reform UK at the next election, as far as I'm aware.
So she won't get elected then. That's good. Okay,
I mean, you never know. There's plenty of time for the polls to change around. Although if they keep doing the cringy stuff like this, that may not come to fruition.
Well, indeed. Also, you'll see a lot of white faces and a lot of grey hair, and that's the youth department. So you know,
Hello, fellow dudes.
Indeed.
Well, good afternoon, reformers!
Yeah, I love that. Their slogan is "Make Britain Great," or "Let's make Britain great," which, like, at least MAGA suggested that America was great before, whereas that intrinsically implies that Britain has never been great, and we need to make it great. Which,
I mean, true.
Is sort of true. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I can go with that.
Right. They're right, but they're wrong about why they're right.
Exactly, they're right for the wrong reasons. Also, the fact that it's "Make Britain Great Again," Northern Ireland can fuck off.
Yeah, literally.
Okay?
I mean,
just the mainland. All the rest of you can piss off.
This is the party who is specifically campaigning because they think that the Windsor framework for Brexit threatens the union. Like Anne Widdecombe, literally, I'm coming back into Parliament. I'm coming back into frontline politics to save the union so that Northern Ireland doesn't break away because they're in a different economic zone. I'm just like, but then their slogan explicitly excludes Northern Ireland, which I think is very funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Fired. Yes, I hope so. Because you are the real reformers. You are the true activists.
Can I just say, this Theresa May tribute act is not doing it for me. No, she's just, it's honestly, if she goes full, like, I don't know, if she goes, not Theresa May, sorry, fuck's sake, I've forgotten her. What was her name? She was Prime Minister, Liz Truss, there we go. Yeah, if she goes full pork markets, I think we need to celebrate.
This is
I'll get the champagne out.
There's going to be a real pork market moment. Although, to be fair, she is channeling some of Theresa May. It's very clear that these people really do want a red, white and blue Brexit.
Yes. It's the only Brexit in town. Honestly, I don't know which... I hate being, like, talked down to. I hate being patronised, especially by people who are trying to, like, get something from you, like a vote or whatever. And so the red, white, and blue Brexit was so fucking frustrating. Like, it really like you're talking to me like I'm a child. And I remembered I was talking. I don't know why, but I was talking to my mum about Avatar the other day because she said, "Have you ever seen the movies or whatever?" And I said, "I've seen one of them." And the fact that they named the mineral that they couldn't get unobtainium.
Yeah.
Genuinely, that's like red, white, and blue Brexit. It sets me off. It's so frustrating. Like, don't talk to me like I'm a fucking child, okay? Just call it something like a normal fucking name for a thing.
Yeah, they do genuinely all think that we're children, though. Which that's the thing.
Yeah.
But then most of the people that they're trying to appeal to probably are.
Yeah, conservatives genuinely. I mean, they know their audience.
Yeah, true.
The reason that Get Brexit Done or Build the Wall or whatever work is because their people are simpletons.
I am Grug. I vote blue or red.
I am Groot.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Actually, you know, I'd vote for I Am Groot. Yeah,
True. Probably
let's
do a
go.
better job than Boris Johnson.
True.
You are the grassroots movement for change. You know, something really
Again,
quite strange is
grassroots.
happening today. Something that should concern us all.
The fuck is going on behind that? Like a fur wall with a chandelier in it?
I mean,
That's a
space.
very strange room. Where the fuck are they?
Some kind of
It's like,
hotel. Clearly, well,
it's
at least
like
it's an improvement on their
Liberace's
last.
bedroom. What is
It's
this?
definitely an improvement on their last rally. Their last rally was done in some like kind of disused school hall. It was very ramshackle.
Appropriate though, I think.
For a party that's literally literally the president is a commodities broker and funded by loads of dark money. But
Yep.
yes, grassroots my ass. You'd think that, you know, from the last one they would want to upgrade their setup, and to be fair, they have.
Yeah.
So for fair play to them.
Activism has always been the pursuit of people to change things, to fight for justice, to improve their lives. It is driven by deep concern and need. It is the real voice of progress. Yet in the 21st century, something rather sinister is happening. Activism itself has been hijacked.
What?
It's not progression. It's not even progression. It's regression. Because rather than coming from us, the general public, it's being imposed on us from above. Take the knee. Change the church. Decolonize the curriculum. Call a man a woman. It doesn't matter what we believe.
What a weird selection of like non-issues. What the fuck are you doing?
What's amusing though, when I was covering Matt Goodwin, I think it's the same shit that Matt Goodwin's talking about, that I covered yesterday, is that they think that fundamentally these kind of people, they believe that there is a continuum of political ideology that's basically a bell curve, and that anything that they believe is radical should be a fringe thing, and everyone kind of meets in some kind of consensus center, which they fundamentally believes that they themselves are, and anything that any kind of, you know, political ideological spectrum that deviates from that must therefore have some kind of fifth column that's imposing everyone. It's why you get things like the universities and the schools are teaching our kids to be woke, for example, whereas it can't be that this might have occurred naturally, and they might be something that they have intuited themselves, and the research will show you that. Policy Exchange, a far right think tank in the UK, did a study to try and find out if young people being indoctrinated into quote unquote woke culture by teachers and universities, and they found the complete opposite. That most of these people were getting their progressive viewpoints from social media, because they can't admit maybe that loads of people disagree with them just on the basis of ideology. They must assume that it's been imposed from the top down somewhere, and they're being they've not been consulted on something that would previously be where they would have ideological control over the narrative.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. Look, there's no way that young people could work out themselves that capitalism is bad. It clearly must have been something that's been imposed on them by a cultural elite. It's not because their futures have been sold out by boomer cunts. No, it must be George Soros.
Exactly. Also, at some point, Sundry points out in chat, amusing how they seem to hate decisions being imposed on them from above, yet they still love singing the fucking national anthem.
True. Also, Sundry Clankar, you're watching on somebody else's stream? I did not
Probably
give you
both,
permission to
actually.
do this.
Probably
I
both,
didn't.
to be honest.
Well, probably, but I didn't give them permission to watch anybody else's stream. And I will not have cheating, okay? Thank you, Kimberly, for the sub with Prime. Don't forget to subscribe and do bits messages to both of us immediately.
If we don't accept it, we're silenced. We're vilified.
I don't know, for a silent person, I'm hearing a lot of fucking noise.
Well, literally.
Actually.
I am silenced, I say, from my mic'd up podium that's being broadcasted across the country in a mainstream political party.
Yeah, my favourite one is on Twitter. If you go onto the For You thing, that's you know, it's all like right wing shit because Elon's like obviously tilted the scales ridiculously, and it's mostly just cat turd going on about how much they've been silenced.
Yeah, it's very
Like,
funny.
well, no, you haven't been silenced because you're literally talking about it, and I can read your message.
It's literally like Julie Bindel having a double-page spread in a broadsheet newspaper with a tape over her mouth talking about how silenced she is.
Yeah. I wish they would be a bit more fucking silent,
I
to
don't
be
know.
honest.
See, like I said, that we're vilified. I'm like, yeah, people, people say you say things that are, that deeply hurtful to people. Yeah, they're gonna vilify you. Like again, it's these people who think that they should have no repercussions for things they say.
Well, that's the thing. They fundamentally misunderstand how free speech works. You can
Yeah,
say a horrible thing, and I can say that's a horrible thing. That
yeah,
both of us have used our free speech in that regard. But you want me to be silent.
yeah.
That's not how
Literally,
it
but
works.
they believe that free speech is saying whatever you want with no pushback whatsoever. Because I fundamentally do believe in at least a large amount of free speech, and which what it really is defined as is not being sent to prison, not having the government restrict what you can and can't say
Exactly.
through the
Yes.
threat of the law, which is
Yeah.
different from there being a cultural consensus about what we think is okay and what shouldn't. In the same way that I wouldn't go, as we said before, I wouldn't go around someone's house, have food with them, and say, "Oh, you're fucking shit cook. What the fuck have you served me here?" No, you wouldn't say that because again, you're not a sociopath.
Yeah.
We're ostracized, even though we are the majority.
Really, because the polling does not suggest you're the majority.
Exactly. And again, the all of those virtue signaling companies who disagree with them, trying to appeal to the largest subsection of population, prove that they're not the silent majority, and that's why they have to again create this fifth columnist because they cannot admit that they may be in the minority on these issues.
Yep.
You know,
Oh, they woke up.
it's become the daily persecution of the people by vested interest, and it's dressed up
She means Jewish people, in case you were
Yes, she does-
wondering.
Yes, she does indeed mean Jewish people. That's true.
as modern morality. You know, we're living in a world today that I barely recognize, and I'm yet to reach 4 decades on this planet. It's a world in which social change is dizzying and it's disturbing, where everything we hold as true and as valuable seems to be on trial and is being rapidly.
Things have always changed. What the fuck do you think? Do you think there was ever a time when things weren't being reanalyzed and social attitudes weren't changing?
Yeah, literally,
When
and she's-
was this?
I hate to be incredibly hyperbolic, but this is exactly the same thing that the pro-slavery people would have said. This is just what the Confederacy would have said. Social change is happening, and I don't like it.
Well, that's conservatism in a nutshell. Is
Yeah.
that exact attitude?
Yeah, like how many Daily Mail readers does it take to change a light bulb? Doesn't matter. They fucking hate change.
True.
Rapidly dismantled by those who want to tear our culture apart, those who want to drive a wrecking ball through our unity and want to destroy our shared values and take our freedoms.
What freedoms? What freedoms are taken away from you? Which freedoms?
The freedom to scream the N-word in the street.
Yeah, literally. I mean, what's interesting is what another thing that they'll always do. One thing that's happening a lot, for some reason, very recently, on the right-hand side of the spectrum, is they're trying to claim that even Bill Maher was doing this. The progressive people are basically Chairman Mao. They have to invent this fifth column that's changing culture, even though the majority, quote unquote, don't want it to. And so what they've invented is this idea that somehow there's this mythical red guard that's across the country indoctrinating people and trying to destroy anybody who disagrees with them and attempting a quote-unquote literally Bill Maher called wokeism a cultural revolution akin to Chairman Mao's cultural revolution. This is how insane these people are.
True. Absolutely correct, Bill. You're not out of touch fucking lunatic at all. No. Honestly, you're so clever, mate.
Yeah, to be fair, the only revolution, the Maoist revolution we're doing is about landlords, to be honest. It's the only time I've ever seen Mao mentioned.
True. Except everyone's got their greatest hits, you know. Anyway, thank you everyone for let's TOS. Let's not go any further. Thank you everyone for getting me on the hype train. If you get to level 2 of the hype train, I will fall in love for the first time. I don't know what song that's from, but it's a thing. Anyway, thank you. Bits, messages, and subs will help with that goal.
My wonderful friend Belinda just described brilliantly what is
This is the working class hero, Belinda DeLucy.
DeLucy. Yeah, absolutely. You know, salt of the earth, Belinda.
Exactly. Belinda DeLucy. Look, I know loads
Voice
of
of
people
the
called DeLucy. Yeah, lovely stuff. Jesus. Although nothing will be. What was her name?
My lovely friend Belinda.
I'm trying to remember the the posh woman. She was actually really nice, but she won a gold medal at London 2012 in the dressage, and her name was something like Jocasta Desjardins or something. And I was like, "What the fuck is that name? What? Who's ever been called this? What part of the country are you even from?" And she was just some posh woman, right? Because she was in the dressage. She was doing horse dancing. Ridiculous.
It's like when you
Anyway.
learn that. It's like when you learn that Jacob Rees-Mogg's son is called Sextus, and you're like, "Oh, this is a parody country. This is a parody country."
Which is, by the way, is just the way that a polycule tells you to do text-based sex. Sex dust.
Oh, but he's gonna get bullied so bad.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. It's as if your dad being Jacob Rees-Mogg wasn't enough. That kid's going to get battered the shit out of him.
Oh no.
Sextus. Fuck off.
All right.
Happening in our schools, essentially brainwashing the next generation to reject centuries of Western society. But it's not limited to the classroom. It's happening to us all.
Western
And I
society?
believe politically we are the first.
Oh, someone, yeah, Annunciata as well, which is Jacob Rees-Mogg's sister.
Yeah. Annunciata Rees-Mogg, a ridiculous name. But interesting, she says that there again, this allusion towards a fifth column that is wanting us to break apart Western society. That specific group, that sounds like a bit like a conspiracy theory I may or may not have heard of, Kev. Have you heard of a similar kind of conspiracy theory to that?
I think I did mention, there was something about lizard moon Jews.
Yeah, something like I know it's like Marxist culturalism. I forget exactly what it was called now.
It was something like that, certainly, yeah. But thankfully, I wonder if she's got any solutions for us. Any first, second, third, fourth, or indeed final ones.
Quite indeed.
To stand up against this unwanted revolution being forced upon us by the elites.
She means Jews.
But
and again, she thinks it's a cultural revolution. Like she literally thinks that we're all Maoists. It's crazy. This is how brain broken these people are, and it's all basically it's all Twitter brain as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's culture war. Brain cancer.
But we're at grave risk.
If only it were real brain cancer. That's not a threat. That's
in
just
Minecraft.
wishing.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah, it's fine.
Of also being the last, because if we don't defend ourselves, what happens next? Our voice desperately needs to be heard.
Your voice is the only one that's heard. The entire right-wing media parrot the same shit all the time.
Exactly. Aaron Banks's fucking vanity project really are the constrained and oppressed group in this country. The fountain of youth.
I'm British, and I am proud of my country's achievements and ethics.
Okay.
Well, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, achievements. There's certainly some achievements to be proud of, sure. But the problem with many of those achievements, though, is how were they achieved?
What's the problem is that it's not about the idea that there are some people who literally hate Britain and everything it stands for, right? It's the idea that we can even be at least marginally critical about the entirety of Britain's history. Like, as if saying, maybe slavery and imperialism were bad and colonialism was bad. Maybe we shouldn't be doing those things anymore. They literally, any criticism is bad as far as they're concerned. And they will somehow reword it into saying they're trying to cancel Britain entirely. I'm like, no, we're just, I'm happy that we beat the Nazis. I am happy that Alan Turing invented the computer, although we probably shouldn't have persecuted him for being gay, right? I'm happy that we were our history involves the levers and the diggers, for example, the English Revolution being the first kind of revolution of that kind against monarchic control in Europe, right? I think these are good things, but I just don't have any of these ridiculous rose-tinted glasses where I think that Britain can do no wrong whatsoever, or even the majority of the British history involves positivity, right?
I think that's true, and I think analysing the way in which these people operate is actually really interesting, because you make some good points, some good nuanced takes on this, but they'll say that's unpatriotic because you're criticising the country, you're talking the country down. We heard a lot of that during Brexit, for instance. But yet these people do nothing but talk the country down. They seem to hate everything about the country and everyone in it. What
Mm.
they like is an imagined fake version of Britain, which may or may not have existed. It didn't, by the way, spoilers. But it's in their head. That's their version of Britain. The Britain that exists, they despise it and everything
Yeah,
to do with it,
literally.
and do
Literally,
nothing but criticize it. And that's
well,
fine. They're allowed to
that's
do
what I'm
that.
saying.
But you don't get to claim to be the patriotic ones.
100%. And we literally come back to her saying, "Oh, I can't believe you talk down our country by saying that the current culture that we have is bad. The current culture we have is every bit as British as previous ones. Like
Yeah.
you're talking down the nation, you fucking traitor."
Yeah, that what they admire is Richard Curtis land. Absolutely. For anyone who's seen that particular monkey dust bit,
Yeah.
where it's Anyway,
Love monkey.
I am white and I don't feel ashamed.
good for you.
Yeah, me too. I am white. I don't feel ashamed because no one's tried to make me feel ashamed for being white. It's just a fucking skin color. I just think that breaking down white supremacist structures is also good. Like,
Well, no, that's what she means. She means I support white supremacist structures, and I'm not ashamed of
literally.
that.
Well, literally,
Yeah.
100%. Obviously, that's the dog whistle, right?
Yeah. Notice I got the biggest round of applause of anything she said so far.
It did indeed. It did indeed. Like, this is again, and this is where we're going to be heading if Keir Starmer doesn't get his fucking act together and talk about economic populism, right?
Yeah.
Because this is going to be the Britain in 5 years' time or 6 years' time if Labour don't do a job of remaking the country in people's economic interests.
Well, look, this might be a fucking speech he gives before the next election. The way he's fucking going.
Right. True.
I am a woman and I don't have balls down there, but I have balls, I tell you that.
You kind of fluffed that line. You kind of fucked that one up a little bit. Just
But even
a
so, this is
smidge.
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like she said, it was such vitriol as well. I'm like, yes, I know you are a woman who doesn't have balls. That's a true statement that you made there. But again, it seems like she thinks that trans people existing somehow denigrates the fact that she exists. Again, just want to point out fountain of youth in this particular, but a fountain of youth and diversity within the picture that we're watching here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just honestly, the whitest people that have ever been gathered together in one place.
Exactly. This should be the replacement of that. Do you know that picture that went viral during the 2019 election? It was maybe the 2017 election of people in the Question Time audience shouting at Jeremy Corbyn for not wanting to nuke people. Right?
Yes.
The Gamma Nazi. This should really be the replacement picture for that.
True.
Oh, this is the face of someone going, "White, I am proud to be white," quote unquote, Phil Anselmo style, and a bunch of old, grey-haired white people applauding it. This is how Nazism starts. I'm sorry, it just is.
Yeah.
It may not be Nazism. I do want to point out for future viewers who might be triggered in my YouTube comments, right? This is not me saying these people are Nazis or this is Nazism, but it's certainly how it starts, right? It doesn't magically appear out of nowhere.
I'm saying these people, whether they would admit it publicly or not, are fucking Nazis. Fuck them.
I mean, they might as well be. They might as well be.
Yeah.
I don't think they are, but I think they might as well be because what they think in their hearts is completely irrelevant as to the consequences of their rhetoric.
Also, is that Hillary Clinton with her eyes closed?
might as well be. Yeah.
I'm straight and I passionately believe in the
Yeah, we know. Look at how you're fucking dressed. Yeah, we can tell.
Yeah.
sanctity of marriage, as happy households make a healthy society.
50% of straight marriages end in divorce.
And also, just again, just literally, just like saying, this is just cultural degeneracy stuff. This is like Umberto Eco is like fucking the sirens are blaring.
Yeah. This is.
I thought this was going to be a funny meme speech, which to be fair, we've had a couple of funny memes so far. But it's scary just how receptive to like legitimate fascist talking points these people are.
Yeah.
I am a curious Christian and I rally against.
What the fuck is a curious Christian?
There's a contradiction in terms, mate.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or just a Christian person who's also a bit curious.
We're curious.
Just a slightly strange Christian.
She said she was straight earlier. Now she's saying she's curious. Which is it? Make your mind up.
Exactly. She is Christ curious.
Efforts to change 2,000 years of community and shared morality to fit in with some kind.
Christianity has not been in Britain for 2,000 years.
No,
Not
it really
even
hasn't.
close.
No, literally. Also, like shared morality. No one has a shared morality. Everyone's moral compass is different. People always have different moral philosophies. And again, this is the kind of shit where Christians talk about moral relativism as some kind of gigantic social ill. When, as Stephen Fry pointed out in the Intelligence Squared debate, we're just referring to thought. They're referring to thought here. These are the real people who are the thought police. By saying there should be a universal morality, they are trying to police your thoughts by doing so.
Yep.
Kind of neoliberal dogma.
Also, they're going to claim to be against neoliberalism. Again, they are funded by, big money.
And this is what the thing is. That's why I say that it's so dangerous for the left to, or I say quite the left. I mean, the Labour Party, which aren't left anymore. They're right wing. This is why their full-throated defence of neoliberalism is going to lead to this stuff, where the only people fighting neoliberalism are going to come from a culturally reactionary right wing rather than economically populist left wing. So again, we're literally they're just going to. Britfash is it's coming, guys. Look forward to that in 5 years' time.
I have got my Irish passport twitching at the very thought of it.
I'm looking forward to claiming asylum in New Zealand.
Cool.
This determination to dissolve the glue that has held us together for centuries.
Oh, hello, James from the internet, by the way. Hello. She seems kind of hot. I can change it. No, you can't, James. No. No. Bad James.
Also, hello, James from the internet.
And destroy.
Yeah. Everyone, give my friend here, give her a shout out, James, on your show. Do it. I'm shameless. I will fucking tell you to do that.
James, I think me and James are good friends now. So after James always seems to be streaming directly as soon as I finish, so I always raid into him.
Oh, okay, well, give her a shout out then, James.
Yeah, make your audience give me money. I am poor.
True.
A culture that has enabled us to thrive and to prosper in harmony is now so pervasive that most of our politicians dare not speak against it.
Also, do we really live in harmony? Were we living in harmony during Rivers of Blood? Like we're living in harmony during the Great Depression? I think she's selectively remembering this nation's past.
It's so interesting. I have to bring this up every time it gets mentioned. You know, he never says the phrase "Rivers of Blood" in the Rivers of Blood speech.
No, that's true. But it's what
he makes the biblical analogy. He sees the Tiber foaming red with blood. Is the exact phrase he uses. But it's how it gets caught up in the mind. Also, he lied in that speech. He claimed that there was a school in his constituency with no white kids in it. People checked. It wasn't true.
Well, they do this all the time. Remember when the Fox News host said that there were no-go areas in Birmingham? I mean,
no.
I mean, there is a no-go area in Birmingham. It's called Birmingham, but it's not because it's full of Muslims. It's just because it's Birmingham.
Whoa! What's happening here? What's going on? Right. No, the exact thing he said was that Birmingham was, quote, 100% Muslim.
Did he say that really? Fucking hell.
Legitimately. I'll have to find that clip for you. He said that Birmingham was 100% Muslim, which, I'll be honest with you, just made me realise I've been a fucking terrible Muslim all of my life. I've not followed any of the tenets of Islam, despite being a Muslim, apparently. It's nice.
Big corporations aren't challenging it. No, they're trying to profit from it. And we, the ordinary people, are being increasingly encouraged to just dumbly accept it.
Well,
we
back
really
again.
don't want to.
We're back again at the right-wingers.
Did we not see in the recent...
Yeah.
You just said, these people, there's this culture that's pervasive, people trying to profit from it. Yeah, welcome to capitalism. If it's the predominant culture will be reflected in what corporations do because it's the most profitable, because that's how the profit motive works. And these are the people who want to liberalise our economy even further. The Reform UK platform is a libertarian economic platform. It's they want to be the Liz Truss tax cutter IEA types. Literally, Nigel Farage said Liz Truss, the fiscal event was a proper conservative budget again.
Yeah.
They literally believe this stuff, and they're getting angry again because either because they don't understand it, or because they're deliberately trying to not understand it for the sake of political expediency.
Indeed. This is the clip in question. It's a few years old now, but it's a doozy.
So, and in Britain, it's not just no-go zones. There are actual cities like Birmingham that are totally Muslim, where non-Muslims just simply don't go in. And
I am a terrible, terrible Muslim.
You really are.
Honestly, it's shocking.
You
The
know,
amount of bacon
I've
and
seen you
Guinness
down the
I've
pub.
had. Exactly, yeah. It's too much. I mean, just classic. Again, Fox News. They're bad enough when they talk about American politics, but when they try and do anything outside of that, it's just crazy.
SNP leadership election so clearly attacks on a Christian candidate who stood up for her beliefs, only to be beaten by a man of Muslim faith never once held accountable for his.
It's not a reactionary. Like, it wasn't about whether or not you're Christian or Muslim. It's about whether you're a reactionary or not. For example,
if he'd tried to institute Sharia law or like beheading the unfaithful or whatever,
not even that. Even if he just said, for example, that he thinks that trans people aren't real or that gay people shouldn't be able to get married, which is, to be fair, are positions that both Kate Forbes and Ash Regan hold. Right? It was the positions they were taking, not the fact that they're religious was the issue, for example. Right?
Yeah.
In that, like Sadiq Khan is the mayor of London and is a Muslim, and he's never once at all had any inclination that he's not a progressive person, because again, Muslims are not indeed a monolith. And regardless of how many Muslims in Birmingham want to protest schools being LGBT inclusive, I've criticised them on my channel multiple times, for example, in these kind of contexts. But they're not representative of the entire Muslim community. And again, they are trying to imprint some kind of persecution on here based upon faith, which is only based upon policy, because they fundamentally refuse to admit that maybe people might disagree on policy on some of these issues.
True. Yes, that is correct. Also, yeah, a Muslim city with the ham in its name.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Birmingham.
It's too much. That's why we pronounce it Birmingham, because we're Muslim.
True.
We will not even say ham. Okay?
Say the word ham. Oh dear. And the thing is, well, like Hamza Yusuf was attacked for his beliefs.
Hamza Yusuf.
But he wasn't even attacked for beliefs about being progressive ones. The belief he was attacked about was for being anti-Israel. I did a segment on my channel. He's being attacked for being a secret anti-Semite because in 2010, when he was like some kind of Scottish Parliament Undersecretary helper or whatever it was, he helped organise a meeting between the person who was in charge of him with someone from Hamas. That's it. And now apparently he's an anti-Semite because he's pro-Palestinian.
Well, actually, it's really interesting to look into. It doesn't really affect the modern SNP, but the SNP, as it existed during the war, was actually pro-Nazi.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted Germany to invade and then take over so they could become a separate country. But they thought that was their best route to independence at the time. So they were actually, many of its wartime leaders and ministers, or not ministers because they didn't have a government, but members, high-ranking members, were very avowedly pro-Nazi, which is fucking weird, very weird.
Weird. They've had the SNP in general have had a weird ideological trajectory from going from literally that to being like the Conservative Party that aren't conservatives but want to leave the Union in the 70s to being literally the most progressive party in Parliament now.
Yeah, they were known as the Tartan Tories during the 60s and 70s. And then now, probably in terms of parties that can realistically get into any kind of government, are the most left-wing party in Britain.
Yeah, really.
Which is pretty cool.
Very bizarre. But then I guess that they fundamentally will just ideologically agree with the vast majority of the population in Scotland because they need to try and ensure that they can get the support they need to push for independence.
I just kind of hope that the finances thing doesn't take them down because they're the only independence party of any note.
Yeah, and also just the only pro-trans party of any note.
True.
All I ask is that the playing field is level.
Level.
Well, no, it's not even level. They have all the advantages, and yet they're still going to scream about how it's the left have everything. Really?
But even then, the playing field is in a position where the only reason why they think the playing field is stacked against them is just because more people disagree with them than agree with them. Right? They are just a minority of opinion on.
Yeah.
Welcome to democracy.
I'm I'm not against inclusion. I'm not against diversity. Far from it. Look, anyone who
I don't know that you can say that in that room, really.
Yeah, and I
That
was like,
doesn't.
yeah, like it's citation needed.
It rings a bit hollow when you're surrounded by like the wall of whiteness.
Yeah, literally, press X to doubt.
Yeah.
who knows me would tell you that. I've lived in Ghana, Kenya, India, China. I even managed to live in Brussels.
Very funny.
That's the only place where I find the culture and the creed are rather deplorable.
Not in China. Where
China.
Not in China, where they've got like suicide nets outside factories and like they kill Uyghurs and shit. That wasn't
Yeah.
repulsive to you. She was fine with that. It was Brussels at the problem. What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus.
Look, I'm wholly for celebrating and welcoming different cultures, but only as long as the price...
As they're white.
Well, the
Is
thing is that she's like, I don't think that's this really weird position that she's going, where the whole thrust of this argument is that the British culture is being diluted from within by a ideology that she disagrees with fundamentally.
Jews.
Yeah,
She means
obviously,
Jews.
that's what she's referring to. That she's dog whistling about. But then she's saying, I don't mind if you have a different culture and come to the country. Well, clearly you do, because you feel like the culture is being undermined and people disagree with you. This is not a tenable position. Of course, it can't be, because the enemy, again, as all fascists want to do, is treat the enemy as both simultaneously weak and defenseless, whilst also being strong and unassailable.
I'm hearing a certain echo.
Yeah, it's quite
Hey.
both Umberto Echo and Echo posting.
Yes, very much so.
to pay is not our own. Are we not seeing the deeply concerning and unquestioned neo-religion of trans rights, undoing decades of female...
Neo-religion of trans rights.
Oh, it's like, I mean, it's what, like, it's in the same way that gay rights are religion, or women's rights religion, or
Oh no, they have to accept those now. They have to officially, they have to go with that. But they can still beat up on the transes for now, and then they'll have to find a new group.
Well, literally, of course they will. I don't know. I mean,
we should open a book on what the next group is going to be.
That's true. We should definitely have a sweepstake.
Yeah. Is this the British Marjorie Taylor Greene? Basically, yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it almost sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I can't comment as to whether she has been a serial adulterer or not.
No, or whether
But
or not
other
her
than
husband
that,
has embezzled funds from the government.
Yes. Yeah, I can't confirm or deny that. But she does a good tribute act nonetheless.
Empowerment and even ridiculing established medical science. Where women's sports risk...
Because you know what science does? Change. It updates based on what's observed. That's how science works.
These
people literally treat it like a religion, where it's about an ancient dogma that cannot be questioned. The whole good thing about the reason why science is such a good thing is that it continually gets questions and questions itself to update its opinions and update our knowledge of the world on new information.
Also, these are the same people who were like, "Oh, I can't wear a face mask. I'll die."
I mean,
what?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't breathe in a face mask.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Or they're putting cancer in the vaccines or whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus. But they're very big on science.
Being eradicated by denying basic biology, and women's safety is being mortgaged at the altar of gender ideology. Where young people, their sense...
No applause for that one. She waited for the applause and it never came.
Yeah, because women's rights is not big on their agenda at all. They want to hate on trans people, not so much on the women's rights though.
Well, literally, exactly. As I said, if you really wanted to talk about women's rights, as I was talking about on stream before with Van Man, if you want to talk about women's rights, you should talk about, first of all, rape convictions, because the rape is de facto illegal in this country. And second of all, you want to talk about like the rising misogynist the new manosphere that's happening at the moment, the Andrew Tates, the Sneakos, the Fresh and Fits of this world.
Yep.
That's where all the misogyny is coming from. It's not coming from trans people who just want to exist in the world and not get murdered.
Well, not just, just return to the first point. It's not just that rape convictions are so low. It's that the police are the ones doing it.
Well, yeah, literally.
Yeah, literally. And that's not me just being like, oh, you're anti-cop. I mean, I am anti-cop, but that's beside the point. They've literally been found to be serial domestic abusers, rapists, sexual assaulters on a mass scale, to the point
That's,
where the
yeah,
Metropolitan Police have hundreds of people that they can't sack for some fucking reason. That break these rules, so they're still just
literally.
serving police officers,
And
just
literally,
just weird rapists everywhere.
as the Casey reports explicitly called them institutionally misogynistic.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why rape convictions are so low, because who's going to prosecute themselves?
Yeah, literally.
Of cells still plastic and forming are being encouraged to adopt dysphoria, a psychological condition that affects less than 0.5% of the population.
Why are you talking about it then?
Yeah.
If it affects so few people, why is it an issue for you?
Yeah, literally. It's the most. It's like Schrodinger's moral panic.
Also,
Simultaneously a threat to Western society, whilst also only in service to a tiny portion of the population.
yeah. Also, notice how quickly she pivoted from there's a war on science to we have to accept this diagnosis that doctors give.
Yeah, exactly. They so fundamentally they think that it's a lifestyle choice and not medical treatment.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why they say you can't be they can't be trans kids, because they and the way they think of it as grooming, for example. They think that it's all some kind of sexual fetish, right? They believe in the Blanchard topology.
Yeah.
And yet children are even encouraged to seek medical intervention to change their young bodies. This
They're
can't
not.
be
No.
right.
Whoa. They're not doing that. Right? Children get blockers. They don't get hormones. They don't get surgery. At least not in this country, right? That's not what's happening. For example, so she's just lying because they fundamentally just wants to. It's a scare campaign. It's a fear campaign. It's trying to get people to feel the ick with no justification for doing so.
Great.
And are we not also seeing a perverse normalization of fetish and pornography, where children from the
Oh, here we go. She's now
Cultural
moved on to
degeneracy.
anti-porn. Brilliant. Fucking hell.
Thing is, there are plenty of criticisms of the porn industry and the normalization of the kind of the pornographic tropes that you have. Right, I think that there is a big danger for the kind of sexual misogyny that is rampant within the kind of mainstream capitalist porn industry that is damaging sexual relationships between men and women. But that's a problem of capitalism, not a problem of porn.
Yeah.
age of 8 are being exposed to adult content,
Are they?
where it is deemed healthy to consume online the sort of material that 10 years ago would have been considered really quite niche, if not perverse and dangerous, and if available at all, only in licensed shops.
So how many? So first of all, as young as 8, no evidence for this. I mean, she's probably doing the same shit that Mims Davis in Parliament was saying, where she said that basically she found a group that was doing sex ed class for kids that didn't involve any kink stuff at all, but found on their website things that were kink related. So she meshed this together into kids are being taught about choking, when that was just a lie, a complete lie that she told in Parliament. And then Rishi Sunak said he's going to reevaluate all sex education in schools because of this lie that she told.
Yeah.
But second of all, I thought you enjoyed freedom, Alex. I thought our freedoms were being taken away and people were being judged for wrongthink. Are you telling us that these people who enjoy these types of pornography that you view as being disgusting, are these people engaging in wrongthink too, Alex? Do you want to cancel us? Do you want to remove our freedoms for enjoying fetish content?
Oh yeah.
This is cultural degeneracy, fascist dog whistle posting. That's all it is.
Yeah. Also, it just for everyone watching there, serving police officer charged with raping a woman while on duty, and that's from today. So a new one. Yeah, police sergeant, a serving officer in the Hertfordshire Police. So it's not just the Met. Is charged with 3 counts of rape.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Just our lovely back the blue, I guess.
Yeah, public servants.
Yep.
Apparently.
Fetishes are now portrayed in pop music videos. These fetishes are being practiced on first dates, landing young women in
videos. Just to be fair, she's not even 40 yet, so she was not alive for Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
No. Or Michael Jackson grabbing his cock and balls
Yeah, literally. Or
repeatedly. Yeah.
yeah,
Like, go back and say,
clearly,
well, I think it was good that they didn't film Elvis from the waist down. Actually, like, what the fuck what is this
yeah,
weird boomer shit?
just something. I mean, she's in the unique position because she's just someone who wasn't alive during the 80s. So she just missed all of the stuff that's happening now that happened in literally identical formats during the 80s, right? Like,
Yep.
come on, like it is if anything that's being done now was beyond the purview of Frankie Goes to Hollywood or Depeche Mode.
Yeah. Also, yeah, practiced on first dates is a very weird phrase, but you've got to perfect it for the second
True.
and third day, right?
True.
That's still one of my favorite lines from American Dad, which he said, your mother is very conservative. She wouldn't kiss me until the third date, which made the sex on the first two dates very impersonal.
Yeah, literally. Again, they're gonna. I bet she'll tie this back, right? This is my Nostradamus moment for the video, which almost certainly won't come off now that I've said it. I bet she'll try and tie this back to the fall of Rome.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
That's what they always like. That's what the fascists always love to do. They actually say that Rome fell because of the degenerate population succumbing to hedonism.
And that's all because of Edward Gibbon and his stupid shit book,
Yep,
The Rise and
exactly.
Fall of the Roman Empire. Yeah. Also, we've still got Goths, so they could sack Rome again. I mean, it'd be a bit more. The music would be
Apparently,
better.
all the
I
Goths
think.
have gone. According to the gender criticals, all the Goths have become trans now. There are no Goths. They've all disappeared.
Well, hang on, you don't. If you're still a goth who's a trans person, you're still a goth. You don't stop being a what?
Yeah, literally, that's what I genuinely heard gender criticals say this, that there are no Goths anymore because they've all just become trans instead.
Well, I'll tell
These
my
people live in
friends
a different world. Yeah, literally, I will also tell all of my brother is in a System of a Down tribute band. They're on tour at the moment.
Oh, based.
Yeah, and I've been to the gigs. I have seen the goth girls there. Definitely still exist. Definitely not trans.
Cool. Let's go.
Hospital. They're being celebrated on Channel 4. I'm heartbroken at the rate of sexual assaults in schools. The gratuitous inclusion of kink everywhere in popular culture.
Hang on. Whoa. Why have you mentioned those two things together? Like they're remotely connected?
Again, just not mentioning Andrew Tate at all, are we?
No, just going to ignore that because
it's definitely not misogyny that would cause people to engage in rape. It's definitely just the fact that kink is in popular culture.
Is a thing. Yes.
Like, and again, she always talks about these people always talk personal responsibility, whatever it might be. Like, if your kids are being exposed to kink, then you're a bad, and you think that's bad, then that's you failed as a parent in ensuring that they don't get exposed to it, right? For example, that's your job as a parent.
The coarsening of language, and this.
Fuck off, you. See, coarsening of language.
Thanks.
No, she said coarse language, so I had to go there.
True.
That was a red rag to a bull. Ugh.
It was. You immediately saw red.
I nearly did a big swear again. That would have been more editing. It would have been a nightmare.
Rabid objectification that makes little girls feel pressurized to pose in bikinis on social media for complete strangers.
Oh no, people want to look nice.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with this point. I do think that what the issue that we have, ironically because of neoliberalism, fucking neoliberalism as always, is that we treat everything has become competitive. Everything's become a market, right? People are trading their own bodies and their own images within the market of public acceptance. Because under neoliberalism, we view everything in terms of market dynamics, for example. And so because of this, there is always a competition to see who is looking. That's why filters are big things, right? And I think this is damaging. This is damaging for young people's psyches. But it's not because we're too liberal or we're too sexually active or we're too things have been pornographized or whatever it might be. I just think it's capitalism. It's just neoliberalism, right? I think that if we had a healthier, that's why these are the same people who would say that body positivity or the fat acceptance movement are also bad, despite the fact that these things are in contradiction with each other.
Yeah.
This idea that we should accept people as they are, which is what fat acceptance and body positivity is, against everything is being commercialized and marketized so that people believe the young girls are being pressured into wanting to be as openly sexual as possible to try and fit into the sexual marketplace, for example. That's also bad, but these things aren't related. In fact, they can't hold these positions, all these completely contradictory positions these people hold.
Yeah.
I'm not a prude. Really, I'm not. I never have been.
Except porn is bad and kink is bad. Okay, I mean, you sound a bit of a fucking prude.
Yeah,
Because
it
like,
does sound
I
like it.
don't do kink, but like, I'm cool if people do.
Yeah, literally, like whatever. It's in a
Okay.
music video. Turn off the fucking TV, you triggered
Yeah.
snowflake.
Mm.
I simply believe in common decency and I champion old-fashioned values.
And again, I've said on every single time people use this phraseology, I believe in, you know, common sense or whatever. And there's no point that's being made here. All she's saying is, you agree with me. Here's a meaningless phrase that you can put your ideology onto to make sure that you agree with me even more. Right? There's not a real thing that she's saying there. Traditional value. What values? Tell me what the values are, and I'll tell you whether they're good or not. But they think that because they are traditional, they therefore must be good, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. Also, she really loves the country, but thinks that it's fallen to degeneracy and pornography.
Yeah, that's a bit anti-patriotic.
Yeah, she's talking the country down quite a lot right now.
Actually,
Come
has
on
been
now.
really. This entire speech has been criticisms of the country.
Yeah, almost as if that's kind of what politics is about. Really,
Quite.
you know.
And I will defend the right of the many people out there who want to live in a society where hypersexualization is not shoved down our throats and is somehow
Giggity.
dressed up as progressive.
Just turn off the fucking TV.
Yeah.
And are we not seeing our concerns about the cohesion of the communities in which we live being attacked as bigoted and fascistic?
Mainly because you just mean white people.
Yeah, literally. I mean, community cohesion means they're literally it's the brown people move in next door, and she believes that's somehow not cultural cohesion. There is a thing that is damaging cultural cohesion in this country. What is it? Everyone in chat knows exactly what I'm going to say here because it's my Twitch
George
subscriber
Soros.
alerts. No, it's fucking neoliberalism. Every single time, it's fucking neoliberalism.
Well, kind of. He is a neoliberal, so yeah. But
True, but even so, literally, the breakdown of community is nothing to do with because things are less white. It's because there is no community under neoliberalism. There's no social contract. Like, of course, the communities are going to break down where the only metric that's valuable the entirety of society is who makes the most money. Like, of course, that's you're literally describing the rot of capitalism.
If we dare to question the rate of immigration without integration, even if we point to the abundantly evident strain on public services in backlog Britain, we're still told it's got nothing to do with a population that's now projected to grow by 1 million every 4 years, and that mass immigration
forever until we are 100 squillion people.
So we're all just living like shoulder to shoulder in like a squashed person pile.
And then they'll add 1 million more.
On top of each other as well. But the thing is, what's interesting is I need to just again completely undermine the point she's making here. She's saying, "Oh, population growth is what's straining public services. Population growth grows the economy, right? NHS needs to have a specific percentage of GDP spent on it, right? The more consumers you have as people immigrate, the more taxation revenue you have, and therefore the more funding the NHS will have if you believe in this kind of Keynesian model, or even a monetarist model, this kind of liberal model of how the economy should or shouldn't be run."
Yeah.
So the reason why public services are under strain is because of austerity, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a deliberate governmental choice that has led to backlog Britain.
Exactly. And
Not the
specifically
fact
because
that some brown people are here.
Exactly, and specifically because they know that they can blame brown people instead of austerity, right?
Yeah.
That's why these people saying, "Oh well, this is the country's fundamentally broken." I'm like, yeah, your economic prescriptions broke it. And you want to do it even harder. What the fuck are you talking about? These are, again, and that's why they have to use the cultural stuff to try and push through these ideologies, because they know people will disagree with it if they actually knew what the economic policy was in the first place.
Yes.
is necessary. Oh, no, it's the answer. Any worries we have, therefore, must surely be xenophobic. We elect MPs to stand up for us. It's their duty and their privilege to represent our interests. Not the UN's, not the EU's, not the World Economics Forum.
She means Jews.
It means Jews.
Right?
Oh, again, is the
Oh,
no, just all white people. Oh, hang on, purple hair. We've got pronouns in bio.
Literally how there are pronouns in the audience, but literally not a single young person, not a single non-white person in the entire audience.
True.
Some
of them don't have glasses though, so.
True. I mean, Pol Pot he'd be very triggered in this audience.
He would.
I didn't realise there was a constituency called Davos. We certainly don't have a candidate there. Like, that doesn't mean we should disengage.
Well, you've got just as much fucking chance of getting an MP in Davos as anywhere else. So, you know,
quite so. But even then, like, you agree with Davos. You're capitalists. Like, you have identical economic policies to Davos. Why do you care?
From the international community. We live in a global world, and Britain has long been a powerful and an important voice. But we don't elect our politicians to be employees that we pay to kowtow to unaccountable global governance.
No, what we want is unaccountable British governance, because that's somehow better, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. We want to be, as long as the corporations that we are slaving away to every day under increasingly unregulated capitalist hegemony are British ones, right? As long as we have red, white, and blue neoliberal slavery, then that's fine. Like,
True.
Love it. You know,
and of course, bow down to the royal family as well. Which,
literally, exactly. These unelected, global governments bad. Unelected British monarchs good.
Yes.
To become mouthpieces of big banks and big tech. To follow every whim of a myriad pressure groups with their ever-changing rules about what we can and cannot believe.
Now, you can believe whatever you like. What kind of nonsense is this? What?
Yeah, literally. And like, also big banks, that's you want big banks. You like neoliberalism, you like libertarian economic philosophy. You love banks. You've always loved banks. What the fuck are you talking about?
To think that voters of Britain should be ignored, or worse still, silenced
Well, given the fact that they voted for some absolute dog shit, I think they should be ignored. Yes. Fuck them. They can't be trusted with democracy, so we need to impose decency upon them.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah,
sorry. Just for clarification's sake, that was a joke.
Yeah, obviously it was a joke, but exactly. But it just shows that the democracy that we do have isn't good enough because people are being consistently lied to and misrepresented to. So first of all, she's right in some ways that people's concerns aren't being listened to, and people aren't getting what they want. Because when we look at the current two parties and their neoliberal consensus politics around the economy, everyone disagrees with them so much so that when you poll people on who they want as prime minister, there is a plurality support for none of the above or I don't know, which just shows you that the political class are completely out of touch.
Which clearly just means they want a female religious leader to hover above them. None of the above. Sorry, go on.
That's the thing, is that we absolutely aren't being listened to by the political class, but on issues such as, do we want the water companies to be nationalised?
Yeah, exactly. Or anything that actually matters. Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
the pursuit of some ever-changing and dangerously untested New World Order.
Literally.
Re-elect
New World Order. Could she be JQing any harder? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, literally. She won't even call it cultural Marxism. She'll literally call it culture Bolshevismus.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking hell.
Them. We elect them and we pay them to represent us.
That's the thing. It's worth pointing out that fascists will always do this, right? They will point to a truth about the democratic malaise of the country, right? They'll point out a correct fact, like we're not being listened to by our elected representatives, because we always aren't being represented by them. They are charlatans, they are liars, for example. Like there are issues we have culturally and with community, for example, and then they will use that as a scapegoat to attack the minorities that they want to disenfranchise, rather than actually looking at the actual real problem, which is obviously capitalism, because they believe in capitalism and they want to direct people's ire away from the thing that makes them money. It's the oldest trick in the book, right? Fascism is capitalism in decay. Not a Lenin quote, as people misattribute to it.
Whose quote is it then?
I forget exactly who it is. Someone who's so unknown that I don't remember their name.
Fair enough.
And was Brexit not our clarion call to hear our voice?
Oh no, but they want to do Brexit properly.
They want to do
That's their big thing.
I want a more Brexiteer Brexit. They really do want, unironically, a red, white, and blue Brexit.
They genuinely do, yeah. That's who this room is who that line was aimed at. When Theresa May said that, these were the dickheads she was trying to win over.
They tried to destroy it. We saved it.
Amazing camera work.
But it is once again on life support, isn't it? Regarded as a temporary blip, a blight on some bigger plan that we are all too stupid to understand.
What?
Thing is, whoa, it's perfect. This is a perfect encapsulation, right? She says, "I'm white and I'm not ashamed." Instant, massive amounts of applause. She says something about the policy of Brexit not being what we wanted because of the Windsor Framework. No one cares.
Yeah.
And this party was the Brexit Party. This is the reason why this party exists, is to fight specifically for Brexit. But these people don't care about the finer points of the economic relationship with Northern Ireland. They care about, the denigration of white people.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And cultural degeneracy.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. There's one person there who looks like they have their colour in their hair that isn't dyed.
It's amazing. Literally
Wow.
under the age of 40. Fucking hell.
That is, well done, mate.
We're fed up with being called stupid, aren't we?
Stop being stupid then.
Yep. There's easy way out.
We're fed up with being called racist, aren't we?
Again, see the previous answer and change the word racist for stupid there. Okay.
We're fed up with being smeared as bigots, aren't we?
Bit more complicated this time, but stop being bigots
Yeah,
you won't be smeared.
Literally.
Or told we have unconscious bias and unfair privilege.
I think you have pretty conscious bias. I don't even think it's
yeah.
unconscious at this point.
Yeah, it really is. And also privilege. I want let me have a look at her background. Let me
let's have a look.
Right, hang on, let's have a look.
Alex Phillips. Let's check out her background. TV presenter.
She went to a grammar school. She didn't actually go to a private school. She went to grammar schools and studied at Durham and then Cardiff.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's
That seems like a pretty normal.
Yeah, relatively normal,
trajectory.
but like she's a middle class white woman.
And she immediately went into
Member
she was
of
a journalist, which obviously means she is the enemy, of course.
Yeah.
But then she immediately went into being a head of media for UKIP. She was already being handed fistfuls of dark money into her pockets. Like
Yeah, and of course
burglar.
was a member of the European Parliament, during which I imagine she didn't take any of the gravy train money from Brussels. Oh no!
She in her opposition to the EU, she refused all of the dirty EU money. I'm sure she 100% did.
Just like when the UKIP literally financially was sustained by European money to the tune of about £8 million, I think it was. That sort of thing. But it's dirty. It's dirty UKIP money though at that point, isn't it? I don't know.
100%. That's how that works.
What even is that? However hard we work, however decent we are and we try to be, we're constantly told that somehow we are the problem.
That's because, and again, follow me down this path, you are the problem. At least in part.
I mean, that's certainly what we would believe, that the things that you're espousing do have negative utility.
Yes.
We're not ashamed of our history and we do not want it condemned nor erased, only to be replaced by a confused and conflicting vision in which nobody can share.
Hang on, whoa. How does a history get erased for a future vision? That doesn't make sense.
It literally doesn't make sense. But also, she says history is being erased. I'm just going to bring up this Philomena cunt quote that's been going semi-viral on Twitter on my end, in response to Lawrence Fox getting angry about the Brecon Beacons being renamed. So that's the latest culture war thing, right? They're not even being renamed. They're being called by their Welsh name rather than their English name because, in fucking Wales, of all things.
It is.
But Lawrence Pox talked about new streets, buildings being renamed, for example, and statues being torn down. And Philomena Kunk saying that if you take down monuments to evildoers, people will forget the dark parts of history, which is why nobody knows who Hitler was.
True. It's almost like these aren't actually ways in which people learn about history. It's a way of glorifying people.
Exactly, 100%. History being always being remembered by the victors, right? Or being written by the victors. Rather, sorry.
Indeed.
That's what, again, this patriotic education stuff is literally just like you cannot have history which in any way recognizes any bad things that were done unless it was like massively bad. If it's slavery levels of bad, then we're allowed to criticize it, although it has no relevance towards the UK nowadays. It's a completely it's a compartmentalized thing that happened in the past, so it can live in the past forever, rather than having long-going impacts today. In fact, we only finished paying reparations to slave owners this decade.
Yes,
Right.
taxes I paid went to paying off the debt accrued by giving slave owners reparation for their lost property.
100%, literally, like that's how baked in slavery is into our national history. But regardless, right? They still just do not want to understand any parts of history in warts and all, right? They want to have this idealized, vacuous, like pat on the back version of history that patriots only want, because again, they don't want to hear anything bad about the country, unless of course they're talking about the country as it is now. Again, it's just textbook fascism, right? It's just textbook,
Exactly.
This imagined past where everything was great and how everything is degenerate now.
And it's exactly
a birthmark posting.
It's ridiculous, and it's ultimately it is offensive to the intellect that people like this will say that we are the ones who are not honoring history. I love history, and I read about the good bits and the bad bits, and accept that most issues most events have a little bit of both in them. That's the grown-up adult approach to actually dealing with history, rather than saying I'm not ashamed of X. No one wants you to be ashamed of it, but to accept it and to maybe make reparation for damage done is a rather different thing.
100%. Again, you're absolutely. It's completely intellectually lazy, and I would say unpatriotic. Right? I would say that it is not patriotic to assume that your country is always good because it is the country that it is. True patriotism, as far as I'm concerned, is making the country the best it can be. That's what traditional civic nationalism has always been about, right? Rather than what Matt Goodwin would call populist nationalism, which obviously just means fascism, which is this blind belief that the country is always good regardless of what it does or doesn't do.
Yes.
And we're not so stupid that we can't see what's happening. We palpably feel that everything that we know and that we are is under attack. Yet so many politicians today are too weak to stand up against this deluge of so-called woke beliefs.
What do you mean so-called? Who's calling it that?
They are calling it woke. Literally, that's the thing that they describe. That's why they describe anything they don't like as.
Yeah.
They are the ones who need to wake up, sleeping on the job and fiddling while Rome burns.
I fucking knew it! Every single time, every single fucking time, I knew it. I see through the fucking veil. I knew it every time.
Also, he didn't fiddle while Rome burned. He was in Actium, which is about 50 miles from Rome. I don't want to go into the history of it, but that story was put about by Christians.
Incredible cold shock for me. It's just so every single time.
Yeah, that's the thing. But look, people will say, "I hate to say I told you so." I love to say I told you so.
Oh, my
and you know what? You enjoy your moment in the sun.
I don't know. Actually, to be fair, I actually do hate to say I told you so, because literally every single moment of the last 3 years has proved Jumbly Crumble's incredibly correct, and it's depressing. It's so blackpilling.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, genuinely soul-crushing to think about it. Yeah.
But when it comes to politics today, we have a party that can't. A government that after 13 years can no longer blame the leaders of the past for the problems of today. That gaslight us with headlines, then they willfully fail to deliver on anything that they promise. Then we have a party that won't. A supposed government in waiting who will also tell us lies about being on our side, but frankly, they seem to not even like us.
Well, I mean, they do tend to unfortunately parrot a lot of the shit you say. So I mean,
it's very weird how she's trying to castigate Keir Starmer for wanting to look exactly what they look like, but trying to say the things that they say. It's very weird that of all the things to castigate Starmer for, it's the fact that he's deliberately trying to pander to her audience.
yeah, well, exactly. Like that poster could have been produced by the Reform.
Well, literally, 100%. It literally could have been. I mean, you know how all the Reform people are all up in arms about the grooming gang stuff.
Well, exactly. They think he's a brown person, therefore probably a pedophile and a groomer. Yeah.
Mm.
So like they might as well have just produced it, but changed the Labour sign for their one. Yeah.
Exactly.
They know they need us to get into power, and so they will feed us the same false promises we've grown all too familiar with. If we weren't, we wouldn't all be here today, would we?
What's interesting is, actually, she's actually, to her small amount of credit, she's admitted that she thinks that the Labour Party are trying to pander to them. So ironically, this ridiculous fascist that we're watching here is more on the nose about Keir Starmer's political beliefs and political strategy than the fucking dipshit liberals who continue to support him whilst he does it at the same time. Then they're just going, he's just electioneering. No, he's trying to pander to the worst people in the country. Come on, we can all see it. Leftoids can see it. Rightoids can see it. Like the bumbling, completely politically ignorant liberals are the ones who are still just completely oblivious to all of it.
Yes.
Oh, I've seen there's a brown person. There's a brown person in shot.
What's that? Oh my good lord!
There was a whole ass brown person. Right, see, right, it's literally
woman.
right there.
Woman with glasses. Oh my god. Do they know? Is their eyesight based on movement? If she stays very still, is she safe? Yeah, I think that's how. Or is that T-Rexes? I can't remember.
Yeah.
That is why, reformers, we are the real activists. We are standing up in defence of decency, in defence of our values, in defence of our past, and in defence of our future.
Literally pablum. Didn't mean anything.
And never before has such a grassroots movement been so vital. I fear we live at a time where our past is being so quickly eroded and its principles so rapidly destroyed that in my lifetime, I feel like I will feel like a stranger in this country. Sometimes...
Good. Fuck you. That's all I have to say.
Yep.
I feel like that already, yet here I am today, surrounded by all of you, all of us bound by the same concerns and all of us ready to do something about it. And we're not the minority.
Do you want to put it any more plainly? Do you want to be any more on the nose than that? Really?
Yeah, I mean, just like, you said it, mate.
Yeah.
So I beg of you, it is our duty to show everyone else in this brilliant, just and proud country that with...
Is it brilliant? Because haven't you just spent the last 15 minutes calling it a bag of shit?
Yeah, again, the very weird kind of speaking out of both sides of the mouth on these issues.
Yeah, absolute nonsense.
Collective will, we can deliver real change even if it feels as though the system is stacked against us. We can protect ourselves against things we are told are inevitable, but we don't want. We're not wrong to feel like flotsam and jetsam on a sea of change. But if we all combine and use our collective...
I'm trying desperately not to do a joke about them drowning. Just don't do it, Kev.
No. We'll just say the word Minecraft, right? And people will get the idea.
That's the magic word.
It is indeed the magic word.
I hope they all fucking Minecraft. Sorry. I keep forgetting I'm on someone else's channel. If my channel gets taken down, that's on me. Fine, but...
strength.
All
we
right.
can indeed stand up against the tide of time and salvage who we are and what we want to be. But we need strength in numbers. As the pioneers in this political fight back, we must also be the evangelists. We must lead from the front and welcome those who share our frustrations because, believe me, we are many. We will be derided, dismissed, ridiculed.
Yes, yes, you fucking will. By me. And
Yeah.
no justice. Yeah, definitely.
But that only goes to prove that we do have the power to push back.
I have the power.
We're the product of a country and a culture that is peaceful, welcoming, industrious, creative. It is by no means
And white.
Mm.
You forgot to say it.
perfect, but it will not be perfected by seeing everything through the prism of race or sexuality. Communities cannot be built on individualism and identity politics.
You literally said, I'm white and I'm not ashamed. I'm straight and I'm not ashamed. You've been doing identity politics all throughout this fucking speech.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. The right will always say this. They'll always say, "I'm sick of identity politics," when their brand of since time immemorial has always been identity politics.
Yeah.
Literally, from Enoch Powell to today, it's always been identity politics.
I just want to do a sarcastic edit of her saying, we can't see it through the lens of identity politics. I'm white. Identity politics. I'm white. Identity politics. I'm white. Just for an hour and send it to her.
I mean, that's definitely going to be my intro to the video when I put the segment up online. It's going to be her saying, I'm sick of identity politics, seeing things from the lens of identity politics, and then immediately cut to, I'm not ashamed to be white. It's just going to be the intro.
Yeah. That's a good,
But also,
good
like,
choice.
but things we also got to understand when she says that people shouldn't see things only through the prism of race or sexuality. What she means is everything should be white and everything should be straight. That's what she really means.
Yes. Yeah.
But on the things that unify us, in a shared identity and with a shared sense of belonging, not division. And our work, reformers, our work, it will be done in our neighbours' houses. It will be done in the pubs. It will be done at the bus stops, in the offices. Of course, it will also be done at the ballot box. But it's going to take perseverance and it's going to take belief. It's going to take courage and it's going to take encouragement. We're not going to readily be given a platform by mainstream media. Believe me, I know. I was press officer for UKIP for the longest time. I mean,
You've got a show on GB News.
Yeah, exactly. You're the person who's being, again, not just getting loads of money from Aaron Banks from Reform UK, but getting stuffed with, Emirati petrodollars pumping out propaganda for GB News. Like, you literally are being paid huge amounts of money to do this.
Yeah.
it's not an easy job. We're also going to be told that we're splitting the vote as if any one party has ownership of our political choice. We'll be told there's no point.
Didn't they literally stand down all of their candidates so that Boris Johnson could win?
Well, that's the issue, right? Because now they know that Keir Starmer's controlled opposition, they don't have to worry. There's no threats. There's no threat of the left anymore, right? There's no threat of the real issue. Again, all of this is economics, right? The real threat was the economic threat to the establishment class as far as economics is concerned, right? The real threat to the wealthy people who fund them. But now that Keir Starmer has proven he is no threat, they can justify him being elected off the back of them splitting the vote, for example. And unironically, true. If you are right wing in this country and you want to see libertarian economic policies with, authoritarian social policies, for example, you should vote for Reform UK. Our voting system fucking sucks. Our electoral system is garbage. And unless you properly vote for parties who accurately represent your views, we are not going to have anything other than a two-party system in this country. And likewise from the left. If you don't think that neoliberalism is a good economic system, if you don't believe that to continually pandering to social reactionaries is a good thing, you should vote for the fucking Green Party, right? Yeah. If you believe that being social reactionary is bad, but being, pro-business is good, vote for the Liberal Democrats.
Mm.
But people won't do this because we have a stupid voting system. And she's right in that they shouldn't be castigated for, quote-unquote, splitting the vote. When, if they want to see their politics represented, they have to attack these people on an electoral scale. That's what Nigel Farage did. The reason we have Brexit is because UKIP kept eating into the Tory vote.
Yeah. Well, exactly, but I'm stuck in May. Because it's a local election. I'm going to be voting Labour, and to be honest with you, for the foreseeable future, it may be the last time.
I mean, I will vote for Labour in local elections. I think my councillors are good and they do a good job.
Yep.
And there's a massively overwhelmingly Labour ward that I live in. So the two people, they're never not going to get elected. But I like them. I think the councillors are good. I just wish the councillors that we had in my constituency didn't keep getting blocked as standing as Labour MPs because they're too left wing.
Yeah.
We'll be told we're too small. We'll be made to feel demoralised and bullied into resigning to the status quo. But we know what we need is reform. Never before have the people of Britain felt so disconnected from their government and left behind by such extreme cultural shift. And this is a sorry state of affairs.
Again, literally,
For a state
that's what fascism does. It exploits the disconnect between politicians and people. This is exactly what fascists do. We've seen it time and time again. I hate to keep calling this person a dog whistly fascist, but I can come to no other conclusion from the things that she does and says.
Yes.
that fails to listen to its people becomes a failed state. Our work is vital, and our commitment.
That's not true. America's the most powerful, rich nation in the world, and its politicians don't listen to its people at all.
Yeah, literally. We have
What are you
again.
talking about?
We're literally where the GOP are being told time and time again by their own voters that they don't care about wokeness. They want to talk about the economy. It's the economy, stupid, right? And they are doubling down and only talking about it. For example.
Yeah. Or the fact that all of America wants some gun regulations, and yet the chance of that ever happening is zero.
Yes, exactly. Both the UK and the US are entirely beholden to a bunch of special interests that the country really don't care about. And in the US, it's usually about cultural issues, and in the UK, it's about economic issues. Like, we want to see these things fucking nationalised. And even 68% of Conservative voters want these things nationalised, and they just don't even. It never becomes part of the conversation.
Yeah, or if it does, it's only because the person's an anti-Semite.
Quite.
Is essential, and in time it will be rewarded. So go out, reformers, and tell Britain there is a party for them.
Yeah, this is just posh Jada Franson. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Really good way of putting it.
We have so much to gain if we do, but we have so much to lose if we don't. Look, I want to finish today with a passage from the Bible.
Oh God, can we not just end it there? Fuck it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. That's enough. She said she could end with a passage from the Bible. Okay,
yeah.
I can't think of a better punchline.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But you know, we are. This is again. I'm gonna the salient point I think that people who are watching this should take from it, because the vast majority of people watching are not going to be Reform UK fans. They're going to be leftoids who are already subscribed to my channel, or liberals who follow me because they somehow continually watch me despite the fact I shut on them every stream. Yeah. This is fundamentally why economic populism has to be the heart of leftist messaging, and why it has to be at the heart of Labour's messaging, right? They cannot move towards consensus politics because all it does is give credence to these people. These people will exploit the disconnect between political policy and the wishes of the general public, and they will turn them towards fascism. It is so dangerous, and the Labour Party will be, quite frankly, 100% to blame if it does happen.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It was the old thing about the only thing needed for evil to flourish is that good people do nothing.
Exactly.
And the Labour Party are doing actively more than nothing to.
They're making it worse.
Shit.
Yeah, they make it worse by ceding the ground to them on the cultural narrative and doing nothing on the economic stuff.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
so dangerous, and that's why when people tell me, "Oh, you're going to vote? What you have to vote Labour at the general election because you're enabling the Tories," and I'm like, Keir Starmer's doing a great job at enabling the Tories himself by agreeing with them on everything.
I think making him prime minister we'd still have a Tory government.
100%. 100%.
I mean, we end up with a Tory government regardless. Yeah. Just the old fantastic anarchist line: it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government gets in.
Yeah, exactly,
is
100%.
true as well.
Yeah, there are.
But anyway,
Yeah, as Noam Chomsky would say, there are two main political parties. There's one main political party in two different colours, and it's called the Business Party, and it fundamentally disagrees with the vast majority of the population.
yeah, exactly.